Hi and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Ain binti Muhammad Kushari Faisal. Will present about Chapter 1. The title is Introduction to the History and Philosophy of Science. What is science? Science is not merely fact. Science, also known as natural philosophy, is characterized by organizing these facts, by organized skepticism, by eliminating personification of nature by its probability. Science is inherently at odds with organized religion. Science preaches disbelief, not faith, lack of respect for authority, and respect for the rationality of humanity. Religions attempt to suppress science and scientific thought because science forces religion to either die or change, and both are seen as unacceptable. The Great World. Science begins in the Great World with the rise of widespread literacy. Greeks used an alphabetic writing system rather than a logographic system, for example, like Chinese or Egyptian. History of science is actually beginning with Thales. In its first scientists were from the city of Miletus. Science began asking questions about mathematical generalization and the fundamental nature of things. Science and philosophy did not have clear divisions at this time. Greek religion, despite efforts to resist philosophy and science, be forced to give way to the rationalizing influence of science and philosophy. What is philosophy? Philosophy is not there to solve practical problems, which is problems of society or individual. Rather, philosophy tests our most fundamental beliefs, values, and convictions that we have, and to test them for the purpose of getting them right. The meaning of philosophy is the love of wisdom. What is philosophy of science? Philosophy of science analyzes critically and reflects on the nature of science, scope, methods, practices, principles, aims, and achievements. The central questions in the philosophy of science are about science, addressed in a manner which is usually external to science. Philosophy can be simplified into simple questions. For example, question 1, what is good, what is bad? Question 2, what is right, what is wrong? The second question relates specifically to ideas on logic and reason, perception and reality. Scientists will be more interested in this. So, even though we can say that philosophy is not there to solve practical problems, it does not mean that we cannot use philosophical thought to help us solve scientific or practical problems. The rise of Greek philosophy. The first great philosophers are Plato and Aristotle. They are adequately deal with questions about their world, their belief, and their reality to confront dualism. The rise of philosophy. Plato is on the left image and Aristotle in the right image. Plato is interested in the forms, universal, generals. Aristotle, he is interested in particular specifics. The rise of philosophy by Plato. He is believed knowledge which is true and that which is believed. First, something can be true but is not believed. Second, something can be believed but is not true. Notes: Plato has a top-down perspective on knowledge. He favors deductive reasoning. The rise of philosophy by Aristotle. Aristotle differed from Plato in that he had favored a bottom-up approach and preferred empiricism over deduction. Aristotle more interested in specifics, so he writes the Physics, Metaphysics, and Historia Animalium. Aristotle is actually Plato-based non-student and the most influential of the classical Greek scientists. He divided science into several subjects and his classification still used until now. For example, Subject reward are zoology, psychology, linguistics, psychology, meteorology, and another else. Aristotle based his writing on observation, but did not believe that experimentation would reveal anything useful. On the right side is two perspectives from Plato and Aristotle. Plato is top-down approach. One starts with an idea, theory-laden observation, rational prediction, and he is give deductive reasoning. Aristotle is bottom-up approach, drawing conclusions from observation, empirical tradition, and give inductive reasoning. In conclusion, ancient Greek philosophy is, with Plato and Aristotle, the foundations for deductive and inductive reasoning was put in place, methods of thinking which could maximize science and minimize non-science.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Next, we will proceed with chapter 2, which is the nature of science and its method. So, what is sciences? Science is a knowledge based on observation and experimentation. It is a branch of science that studies the phenomena of nature and its law. It differs from arts and technology. Science answers the question of why some phenomena occur, while technology answers the question of how to solve them. So the example is, we study physics, chemistry, and biology to answer the question why phenomena occur. So next is the history of technology. Technology began much earlier than science. From the beginning of man had technologies such as making an axe out of a stone, starting a fire, a boat, building a pyramid, and so on. All of this was done without any knowledge of physics and chemistry. Early technology was started without science. Scientific studies started since the Greek age, which produced many philosophers such as Aristotle, Pythagoras, Thales, and others. What is scientific method? The scientific method is a meticulous process of observation or experimentation which is based on a new hypothesis or theory that describes a natural phenomenon. There are 5 steps of scientific method. The first one is a question that arouses curiosity. The second one is to propose a hypothesis, conducting an experiment or observations, analyzing the result of an experiment. If the test result is equal to a hypothesis, then the hypothesis is accepted. Otherwise, the initial hypothesis is rejected or modified. The last one is when a hypothesis is accepted, it becomes a law. Induction and deduction. Induction is reasoning from a particular to general, from the part to the whole, from a limited number of specific facts to a general conclusion. So the example is, the particular part is we have metal X expanded when heated. The second one is metal Y expanded when heated, and the third one is metal Z expanded when heated. So from this particular part, we can conclude that all metal expanded when heated. The next one is deduction. Deduction is reasoning from the general to the particular. Once a general knowledge is available, it can make prediction and offer explanations. So the example is, we have the general conclusion, all metal expanded when heated. Then from this we can predict that when iron is heated, it will expand, and when copper is heated, it will expand. And the last one, when metal X is heated, it will expand. The truth in science. Truth in science is not absolute truth. It is not 100% true. Explaining science is not a complete explanation. A theory of science does not last because it will gradually be refuted by a better theory. For example, Antoine Lavoisier, 1789, says that all acid contain oxygen. However, this theory was accepted for only 20 years until it was refuted by Humphrey Davy, 1810, who proved that sea salt contain no oxygen but only chlorine and hydrogen. So the assumption of science. Glenn Rochard in the Scientifics Worldwide Beyond the Newton and Einstein discussed 10 assumptions in science that form a scientific perspective. The assumptions held by the majority of scientists are materialism, causality, uncertainty, inseparability, conservation, complementary, irreversibility, infinity, relativism, and interconnectedness. Advantage and limitation of scientific method. The advantage of scientific methods is visible and logical. The second one is repeatability and objective. The third one is self-correcting. The limitation of scientific method is the problem of induction. Second one is reductionism. The third one, techniques enter influence test result. And the last one, which cannot be explained why things as they are. Science paradigm. What is science paradigm? Science paradigm comes from the Greek word paradigm. According to the Oxford English Dictionary, the paradigm is a pattern, a model, an exemplar. The paradigm is a pattern of thinking. So there's a few types of science paradigm. The first one is geocentric paradigm. The second one is heliocentric paradigm. The third one is empiricism paradigm. The fourth one is rationalism paradigm. The fifth one, the technocratic paradigm. The sixth one, humanistic and holistic paradigm. And the last one is living paradigm. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nilofa Hanif and I will continue with chapter 3, A Brief History of Science. Aristotelian geocentric worldview. Aristotle was the most famous and influential Greek philosopher. He composed books on organic science, class structure, financial systems, physical issues, and meteorology. And he said that the atoms are still carry out stars and Earth is stationary, with the moon, planets, and the sun revolve around Earth with a complete revolution every 24 hours, and Earth at the center of the universe. Sublunar. Sublunary region is between Earth and the Moon, including the Earth, not the Moon. The four basic elements of nature, which is Earth and water, are heavy. Air, fire are light. Nature of motion, which is object in motion will naturally stop and object will move if there is an external source of motion, and state that they are corruptible. Superlunar. Superlunary region is beyond the Moon, including all heavenly bodies such as the Moon, suns, planets, and stars. And the nature of ether is stated as a mysterious element which composes objects such as the Moon, sun, planets, and stars. The nature of motion has a tendency of circular revolution, and we say that superlunar is unchangeable, which is incorruptible. The scientific revolution. So the first one is Copernicus sun-centered system. So it said that sun as the center of the universe, and sun is the physical representation of God in the universe. And big stars are equidistant from the sun. And the Copernicus sun-centered system had been used and taught for 70 years, and the Catholic Church has no problem with this new system as long as that system was taken with an instrumentalist attitude hypothesis. Galileo's evidence from the telescope. The first one is mountains on the moon. And then the moon's surface is not smooth and uniform. And moons of Jupiter with 4 moons orbiting around Jupiter. And the last one is sunspot, which is the dark region on sun. The conflict of science and religion. Aristotelian worldview and Christian theology had become tightly merged, and the church preferred Earth-centered view. And the Christian scripture, which is Bible, suggests that Earth is stationary and the sun moves around the Earth. And the Saint Augustine, which is the Catholic Church, the highest good was not of this world, rather it consists of an eternal life with God. For them, Empyrean heaven, which I believe was the ultimate sphere beyond the sphere of stars, was important since God and paradise existed there, and Galileo viewed the scripture is undeniably correct, and Galileo's idea of sun-centered system was judged to be heretical, and his teaching was prohibited because it is against the church doctrine. So God is viewed as a matchmaker, the one who designed and constructed the universe and set the universe in motion. So the concept of matchmaker God in the modern science, the first one is universe is viewed as a mechanical universe, and behavior of objects viewed as due to the push and pull of other objects and forces acting on them. Objects behave as they do largely because of the influence of external forces, and rocks fall downward because of gravity, and lastly the motion of planets is explained as consequences of inertia together with the gravity. God is viewed as a matchmaker that designs and constructs the universe, and the universe runs along without the constant intervention of God, and every object has a natural place in the universe. An English Revolution followed by American and French Revolution with the emphasis on individual rights. Newtonian worldview of the new science. So Newton's law of motion, the first law which is the principle of inertia. The second law, which is the change in motion of an object, is proportional to the force applied to the object. The third law, which is any action, there is always an opposite and equal reaction. Time in Europe before and after the year of 1600. By 1600, the goal of the alchemist is turning lead to gold, and biology, vitalism, that living things are different from non-living things. By the year of 1700, in biology, living things are not very different from non-living things. By 1800, Newton formulated his atomic theory in Newtonian framework, and by 1900, most of the major questions of the world have been answered with the Newtonian framework. Galvani and Volta found out that nerves that then the view of nerves as spikes or channels for little fluid or parts. What was originally viewed as purely biological phenomena is now understood to be an electrical phenomenon resulting from physical and chemical processes not different from those found outside the biology. So the area of biology is seen at bottom to fit in well with the overall mechanistic. So in 1828, Wohler produced an area with Fourier, which is an organic compound from an inorganic compound. So by early 20th century, biology, chemistry, and physics are united and viewed as investigating the Newtonian world over at different levels.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Suhaila Sulaiman and I will talk about Chapter 4, Epistemology. What is epistemology? It is known as theory of knowledge. Episteme means knowledge or truth, while logos mean thought, word, and theory. It is a branch of philosophy that studies the nature, resources, limits, and validity of knowledge. What is knowledge? Knowledge is derived from alamat. Alamat is signs that allow something to be known. Knowledge, ilmu, is not the same as information, which is maklumat, but both are from the same root word, which is ain, lam, mim. Other words arising from this root word, ain, lam, mim, are first, alim. Alim is people who know. The plural for alim is ulama. Other is maklum. Maklum is known things, and the plural for maklum is maklumat, which is information. What is nature? Nature is a created being and Allah Subhanahu Wa Ta'ala is the creator. Nature contains animals, plants, humans, angels, spirits, mountains and knowledge as well as the nature. Al-Atas divide knowledge into two, which are first introductory science, ilmu pengenalan, and knowledge, ilmu pengetahuan. Ilmu pengenalan is illuminative knowledge such as ilmu agama, ilmu fardu ain. Ilmu pengetahuan is acquired knowledge which is ilmu fardu kifayah. Definition of knowledge according to Al-Atas. There are 5 definitions. Firstly, knowledge is the source of God. Secondly, the soul's arrival wusul at the meaning of a thing. Thirdly, the arrival wusul of meaning of a thing in the soul. Fourthly, meaning is makna. It means introduction of natural place for everything in a system. And lastly is system. System is a collection of parts that are related to one another, and if one part is changed, it affects the other. 4 methods of knowledge. Firstly, sound sense. Sound sense is panca indera. Secondly is sound reason. Sound reason is akal yang sihat. True report is berita benar, and lastly is intuition. Intuition is ilham. Science, makrifah and wisdom. First, science. Science is a knowledge, ilmu pengetahuan. Makrifah is an illuminating knowledge of gnosis, ilmu pengenalan, and wisdom is hikmah. It means restraining something from the bad. Limit of truth. According to Al-Atas, knowledge is limitless because the objects of knowledge are without limit. But there is a limit true in every object of knowledge, so that the pursuit of true knowledge is not an endless search. Every object of knowledge has a limit of truth. For example, machete has many uses. It can be used to cut trees, and it also can be used to cut cakes, but it is not suitable as it exceeds the limits use of machete. Certainty and doubt. Doubt is sharp. It defined as hesitation regarding decision between two choices. And lastly, certainty is yakin. Yakin means undoubted knowledge of something that satisfies the soul.
Last but not least, this is a last chapter. The title of chapter 5 is Philosophy of Science. There are 4 branches of philosophy, which are ontology, epistemology, axiology, and logic. Ontology. Metaphysics, also known as ontology. Meta is beyond or above. Meta plus physics is what comes after physics, what lies beyond nature. They deal with the most fundamental concepts: reality, existence, substance, causality, and etc. There are questions which are not settled by science. For example, does God exist and are angels real? Epistemology is known as theory of knowledge, a branch of philosophy that investigates the nature, source, limitation, and validity of knowledge. For example, what is knowledge as nature? How do human beings acquire knowledge is source. Axiology. Axiology is theory of value, including both moral and aesthetic values. Moral, for example, is what is good, what is bad. Aesthetic is what is beauty. Logic is synonym to reasoning or argument. The whole purpose of reasoning of logic is to arrive at the truth. Ancient Greeks originate Western logical thought. For further advance in logic, is from Gottlob Frege. He is invented symbolic logic, use of symbols mathematics to represent ideas. Empiricism, rationalism, and logical positivism. Empirical means relying on experiments or observation alone. They using observation and experiments in science, such as physics, chemistry, and biology. Rationalism. The founder of rationalism is Descartes. He is father of modern philosophy and scientific reasoning, mostly mathematician. Next is empirical versus mathematical science in Western scientific revolution. For empiricism, practical and experimental science. Founder is Francis Bacon. Flourished in England, the Royal Society. For mathematical science is rationalism. First, mathematical and abstract is classical science. Founder is Descartes. Flourished in France. France Academy of Science do not have experimental science. Geometry, astronomy, and mechanics were under mathematical division. Both tradition, mathematical and experimental, also called logical positivism. Newton is wrote Principia Mathematica and Optics. Secondly, mathematical and experimental science is from Einstein. The meaning of logical positivism is combining the resources of modern mathematical logic with an empiricist epistemology. Next is skepticism. Doubt whether it is possible to attain perfect certainty of knowledge. Nothing can be known with certainty, that at best there can only be some private probable opinion. For example, hygiene hypothesis in allergy. Scientism. The belief that the methods of the natural sciences are applicable in all inquiries, especially in human and social sciences. Scientific description of reality is the only truth there is. With the advance of science, there has been a tendency to slip into scientism and assume that any claim can be authenticated if the term scientific is used to describe it. Phenomenalism. For example, when I look at an object, the object has experienced by me is a phenomenon appearance. The object as it is in itself is called nominal, is reality. We can only know the phenomenon or appearance of a thing. We cannot know thing as it is or the reality of a thing. For example, an atom appears to be solid. In reality, is it really solid? Law of parsimony is by William of Ockham. Law of parsimony, also known as law of antinomy. Entities should not be posited unnecessarily, or entities are not to be multiplied beyond necessity. The meaning is, the best explanation is the simplest one that we need to assume. When two alternative explanations for the same phenomena, the more complicated is more likely to have something wrong, and therefore other things being equal, the simpler is the more likely to be correct. The belief in simple laws, for example, thus, water is the basic element of all matter. Aristotle, basic elements are earth, water, air, and fire.
Materialism. Materialism is the view that all facts, including facts about the human mind and will, and the course of the human history, that are causally dependent upon physical processes. Next is idealism. The view that mind is the ultimate reality of the world, believing in all pursuing some perfect vision of the need. Theory of truth in Western philosophy. The first one is correspondence theory. The statement upon truth is corresponds with a fact. Example, the book is on the table. Next is coherence theory, which is a group of statements points to the truth if they fit into one another. So the example, the book is on the table, it belongs to me, or it is used for teaching and learning. The last one is pragmatic theory. A statement is true if it works. Example, books are for readers. The last one is Socratic method. The Socratic method is a technique of probing questions developed by the Socrates. The purpose of provoking a reflective person into realizing their lack of rational understanding of their own principles of thought and action, so that they can set out on a path to a philosophical wisdom. The Socratic method is a form of cooperative, argumentative dialogue between individuals based on asking and answering questions, and the method of teaching was a powerful weapon for replacing interested people. And the method of teaching used questions and answers rather than straightforward narrative words. That's all for chapter 5. Thank you.